Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this first and inaugural series of conversations that we are having with makers of change in the tech industry across North America and internationally. And today we have the privilege of speaking with the one and only Natalie Gagne, Director of Partnerships for We Build a Dream. Natalie, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really cool how we connected because it was so candid. And again, this is just another candid conversation. Very impromptu. We were both having lunch at Collision outside, and there were only so many picnic tables available that weren't soaking wet from the rain. And it's funny, most of my connections that I made at Collision were sort of candid conversations like that, just very impromptu. And it's very sincere that way when you're just having casual conversation rather than going and really pitching to somebody, right?
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about you because I was really blown away, within 5 minutes, I think, of sitting down and speaking with you, learning what you do in your seat as Director of Partnerships for We Build a Dream. Maybe you could tell us a bit about yourself, how, you came into, where you are and what you're trying to accomplish with We Build a Dream.
Well, thank you, first of all. I'm so grateful for all the great conversation that we've had so far. As I work in the space of trying to get more women into the workforce in careers in which they're traditionally underrepresented, but that doesn't mean I necessarily work in tech, right? So it's really interesting for me to learn more about the space, especially also having been a previous teacher. So before I worked at Build a Dream, I taught math and chemistry at the high school level, and STEM has always been kind of my wheelhouse, but not so much the tech side of it. I've always found tech and computer science interesting, but until, as an adolescent, you always feel like you're super techie. And then now I'm starting to feel the shift as I'm getting older. I'm like, I don't know as much as the younger generation. When I was teaching my students, they knew so much more about the emerging technology that was coming out. And I felt like I had to keep up. So I understand as a teacher too, the importance of needing to keep up to speed. Like you said, especially working in recruitment, you need to understand what the market is and what the jobs are like so that you can get your clients into these careers. And likewise, as a teacher, we need to empower and inspire the youth to not only learn tech in the classroom, but really thoughtfully understand what that career sector looks like. I can speak from experience having been a student. I was always good at math and science. It came naturally to me. So that's why I fell into pursuing a bachelor's in chemistry. And I didn't really know, I just knew I was good at those subjects in high school. I didn't really totally know what to expect once I got into my bachelor's. And in hindsight, I wouldn't have gone that route. It's led me to where I am, and I'm really happy it has. My trajectory has been really weird. You probably would have hated working with me in recruitment because you wouldn't have known where to put me because I've always changed my mind. Yeah, so it's interesting. And like I said, as a teacher, I think it's important not only to make sure students know about all this emerging technology, but also, one, how to use it safely, but two, if it's of interest to them career-wise, that they really understand what those careers look like. And as a teacher, it's hard because you got to keep up. But what you think you know now, that environment is going to look totally different for them in 5 to 10 years when they actually hit the job market. So how do you? It's so hard. It's hard to keep on top of it. I used to be a math and chemistry teacher. I did love teaching. Admittedly, my work-life balance was non-existent, and I burnt myself out. So I ended up changing courses, and I thought, I'm going to see what else is out there in the world of education. So I fell into Build a Dream. I saw, when I saw the job listing online, I'm like, this literally sounds like me as a career. They're looking for somebody in the world of education who's passionate about STEM. We focus on other sectors too. I thought, this is so cool. Like it's about getting more women into this space. Like, of course I'm going to try this. So I got a position as an education and curriculum specialist. I helped with program development for the organization and being that liaison with the school boards, having that kind of insider scoop of having been a teacher in the classroom. And since then, I've moved into partnerships. So now I'm, still the partner with the school boards, but also working with the corporate world and recruitment like yourself. So that's my role in a nutshell. In terms of what we do, we're a national nonprofit. We're housed in Windsor, Ontario, but we do work across the country. We host a lot of our events in Ontario, but we do some events out of province as well. Alberta, we're branching out into the East Coast later this year, so that's really exciting. Our entire mission statement is centered around getting more women into careers in which they're underrepresented. So STEM is a big focus. We focus a lot on the skilled trades as well. We won't go too in depth with that, but there's a big labor shortage right now in the trades, and there's 50% of the population that's untapped to help with that shortage. So we're trying to get more women interested in the trades. And a lot of that starts young, whether it's in STEM. We also focus on emergency response, like I said, the trades, leadership, and entrepreneurship. Those are our 5 pillars. But a big part of what we do is trying to inspire the younger generation to consider these careers early and learn about them, because we know that as you go along your career journey, the further you get, the harder it is to pivot into something completely different. So we really try to empower the younger generation just to keep their options open, explore everything that you can in high school, even grade school too. One of our sayings is try before you buy. If you pursue a career in which you have to pay to go to school, the trades, that doesn't apply, because what's nice is you get paid while you learn. But if you do STEM, you're probably going to have to do a bachelor's degree or a college degree or something, and that costs money. So explore everything in high school while it's free, and don't pigeonhole yourself into one specific category. So
I love that message. You don't need to rush into it and make a decision. There is time, and decisions change and directions change.
Changing a little bit in the schools, like the mentality is definitely shifting in the schools. Being in this role, I still have that connection to the school boards, and the mentality of the guidance counselors is very much not just to tell students, like, just because you're academic, in academic level classes, that you're going to go to university. They're really trying to start to empower the students to make their own decisions and do it based on what their interests are. So that's one shift. But I will admit, having been a teacher in the classroom teaching chemistry and math, I didn't do a good enough job at the time really highlighting what the careers are in that sector. It is in the curriculum. All teachers are supposed to talk about the careers in that subject area throughout the course, but teachers brush over it. They maybe make an independent style project. And unfortunately, teachers think that just teaching the subject material itself is more important. I would argue that careers are probably even more important, especially when we're talking about empowering the younger generation to get into this industry. They should know what it looks like. But also, as a teacher, it's hard, like I said earlier, to keep up on what these careers actually are. They're always evolving. Teachers are already overloaded as it is. Like I said, I struggled with my work-life balance. It was hard to make time for myself to learn about all of these careers that are out there. So I think as an industry, we can do a better job at working with the students, working with the school boards, and making sure that they are supported to really understand what this industry looks like, because it's hard for teachers to keep up. Yeah, we're trying to work with some industry stakeholders, some of our partners, to actually help develop curriculum for the teachers, prepared lesson plans that it's like, here you go. One of our biggest partners is Enbridge. So we want to develop some classroom material for teachers where we can literally just hand it to them. It's already prepared. They don't have to think about it. It's a lesson plan already made. And it's all about, let's say it's in the science class. Here's all the careers in science that have to do, like, you could work for Enbridge, and here's those careers that are out there. Because like I said, teachers, it's tough, one, to get all the curriculum into one semester, and two, it's hard to keep up with everything that's out there. So just trying to bridge that gap and make it easier for teachers and students to really meaningfully learn about it.
Absolutely. When we were at Collision, you mentioned there's this awesome event that is coming up that you are hosting. Tell me about that. What's that all about?
So this event happens every year in October. It's our signature main event, our biggest event, where we really splash out. To walk you back in time a little bit before I get into what that looks like, it's called Dreamer Day. But Build a Dream, our organization, as I said, we're a nonprofit, and it started as a grassroots initiative in Windsor back in 2014. And it was focused around getting more women into the skilled trades. And our president and founder, Noor, she thought, okay, I'm going to host an event, kind of like a career fair, for young girls and their parents, students in grades like 7 to 12, to come in and learn about the trades. But she knew that if I tell them it's an event about the trades, parents already have bias in their heads about what the trades look like, let alone sending their daughters into that industry. So the marketing didn't really say anything about that. It said, come explore careers in all these different sectors. And there was STEM integrated into that too, but that was more of a highlight because they knew that would probably get more parents in. Anyway, it worked wonderfully. They had a great turnout. It turned into an annual event. At the time, that event was called Build a Dream.
Right.
Essentially, that's when the organization decided, okay, let's apply to be a nonprofit, and let's call ourselves Build a Dream. We still host those events, and not only in Windsor, we host them across the country, and they're now called Career Discovery Expo. So picture a career fair, but not a boring career fair. We do still have a trade show with industry from that local region, wherever we're hosting, to showcase what the careers are like in that sector. We ask everyone to be as hands-on as possible with what they have at their exhibitor booth, so that the students and the parents can really immerse themselves in what that career would look and feel like. And then we feature speakers on our main stage, women who are successfully trailblazing the way in these industries. We always say you can't be what you can't see. So we'd like to have the girls be able to really see a woman who's already working in that field and talk about her experience. All this to say, we host essentially that, but on a much bigger scale, once a year in Toronto. And this is in celebration, or it was in celebration of International Day of the Girl. It still sort of is. International Day of the Girl is like International Women's Day, but it's meant to honor the younger generation. And it happens every year in October. It's declared a national day by the UN. So we always celebrate that. And last year we hosted for the first time ever our Dreamer Day in Toronto. And we had 2,500 young girls come from across the province to attend. And it's like our Career Discovery Expos in the sense that there's an exhibitor trade show. And then we have our main stage, but the event is much larger, a lot more exhibitors, much more vibrant. And we've designed the entire thing inspired off of Collision Fest, but designed to look and feel like a music festival. So picture Coachella, but about careers. And the whole idea behind that is really one, it's not your typical career fair. It's not a boring career fair. We really wanted to tap into the psychology of that younger audience and make it a fun experience for them, because we see so many career fairs at schools and it's always kind of the same sort of thing. We're like, this needs to be fun. We were always planning on hosting Dreamer Day in Toronto. We hadn't really set a venue yet. We hadn't really decided to do anything different than what we've done in the past, except we're going to do it in Toronto now and go a little bit bigger. But Collision really inspired our team. And then it was just a snowball effect of trying to basically recreate this mini Collision Fest, but look like a music festival. So we somehow planned that in 3 months last year, pulled it off, had 2,500 students there, had our proof of concept that this event was wonderful. Our feedback was amazing. 95% of attendees said that they would love to come back next year if they could. Wow. 75% of attendees said that after coming to the event, they now feel more inspired to consider a career in an area that they hadn't thought of before. So that's amazing. 3/4 of the attendees are now considering something else that they really didn't dream of before. Representation from the tech workforce there.
Sure.
Even like gaming and stuff, right? There's just everything is tech. Everything really has tech. So we're really trying to incorporate that this year. So this year we're hosting on October 25th at the Enercare Center in Toronto. We already have 4,000 students registered, so a 60% increase from last year. And this year we've opened it up not just to be for young girls in schools, but it's not gender specific this year. We've just asked our school boards to really prioritize their most equity deserving students. There's of course so much intersectionality to what we do at Build a Dream with trying to get more underrepresented individuals into the workforce in these sectors.
Yeah.
And companies that we speak with all the time are like, of course we want to, hire more women, but there's such intersectionality to everything in terms of recruitment. So we thought we're going to start opening up some of our events to not be so gender specific, but just really focus on those who are marginalized and need it the most. So 4,000 students this year. Not gender specific, but all equity deserving students. We are also bringing 500 job seekers. So all of the exhibitors who participate and our sponsors who participate are able to recruit some talent that day too. But really the focus of the day is to inspire the younger audience to consider these career pathways. So we're going to have a ton of exhibitors there who represent the field of STEM and tech. AI is a big focus right now, and just all of the emerging careers in that space. So I really, really am trying to get more our speakers on our main stage. We have keynote speakers, we have panel discussions, which range in different topics depending on who's on that panel. And we also have musical entertainment. So that's, again, tapping into the Music Fest vibe.
Yeah.
Last year, we had Jax, the musician, perform. It was technically her first concert in Canada, which was really cool. He's known for the song that went viral on TikTok last year called Victoria's Secret. I really don't want to sing it, but I feel like I should so that everybody knows. But it's like, I know Victoria's Secret. Anyway, it goes on, and it's a very empowering song saying all of her music is about inspiring that younger generation not to be in their heads and worry too much about body image and things like that.
Right.
So anyway, she performed last year. The girls went crazy. They loved it. This year we have a DJ who's going to play all the great tunes that the students would like to hear. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun day. We host it during the day. The students get bussed in or they take the train. TTC sponsored us last year, so they assisted with getting students from the Toronto District School Board to the event by bus. They had a special service running for us. So yeah, it's just a great day. I could talk on and on and on about it. So it's wonderful. October 25th this year, Dreamer Day. We also host an afterglow party. So last year we had more of a gala sit-down meal the night before with our partners and stakeholders just to celebrate our achievements. Yeah. This year we're hosting instead an afterglow the night after the event, or the night of the event rather. And that's at the Palais Royal in Toronto. And it's just meant to celebrate with our partners all of our accomplishments and our work together. So Yeah, it's the first step. If we don't start young with empowering the younger generation to really understand these careers and inspire them to at least try it out in high school and see if it's of interest, then we're probably going to be in the same space 5 to 10 years down the line with people like yourself in recruitment struggling to get more diversity into the workforce. So we got to start young and really inspire them.
What can organizations like ours and tech companies in general do to help enhance your
Yeah.
efforts and what you're trying to accomplish?
There's a lot of things. It's definitely a collaborative effort. What Build a Dream does as a whole is we focus on the awareness and attraction of youth into these careers. We help with the recruitment, we help with their retention in the workforce and their advancement. Because at the end of the day, what we see if we're speaking about women in the workforce in these fields, they're underrepresented. So we need to attract more youth to be interested in them. They struggle with getting recruited as much as their counterparts. They unfortunately aren't always retained. They aren't always supported in the workplace. And a lot of them don't end up in leadership. So we focus on doing all of those things, but obviously it's a collaboration with the industry. So in terms of the retention, for example, making sure that there's mentorship groups and that the women who are working in this field, even if they're the only one working in a specific office and the only woman there, that they still feel supported and they have a soundboard. And maybe that means networking her with the other companies in the area who work in the same space so that she has that safe space. So we try to curate that sense of community in the industry as a whole. With the recruitment, sometimes it's as simple as changing requirements and preferences on an application or even simply the wording. Let's face it, if we were marketing, I don't know, a soft drink to you versus me, stereotypically speaking, let's face it, women typically have certain interests that men don't and vice versa. That doesn't apply to everybody. And it's not to say it's black and white. It's a very gray area. But if you were speaking to a marketing professional, they would probably market to you different than they would market to me, right? So the same goes with job descriptions. If I'm reading a job description, and another stat that I don't know the exact number, but women are less likely to apply for a job that they don't have all of the required qualifications for than a man. A man will typically still shoot their shot and apply. Women are more hesitant and won't. So you're going to drive women away from even applying to your job posting if all of those requirements that could technically be preferred, like they're not hard, absolutely necessities, you might drive more women away from applying. And of course, you might argue, well, we just want the best candidate, period. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. And I do agree. But if we collectively as a whole want to get more women into the industry, certain systems have to change to allow them to at least get there. Because if that woman has the soft skills, she has the capability, and the company's able to train her up, and she has everything, fundamentally speaking, to make her a great employee. She might just need a little bit more investment to get her there or build her confidence, or just that one little bit of extra training that doesn't need to be required, but is a preferred. So you can drive more applicants that way. Also, just changing the language in the job posting can be helpful. Like I said, that marketing tactic, it just looks different for women versus men. The other thing is flexibility in scheduling. So naturally, women typically, if we're talking about a heterosexual couple, women typically end up taking on more of the family responsibilities when it comes to like childcare and things like that. It's just the way that society's evolved. And again, it's not to say that it should be that way, but that is the reality of the situation. So making sure that, if a woman has to drop her child off to childcare in the morning before work by a certain time, then like having that flexibility in her schedule is really helpful. Same with having to go collect her child at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That can really encourage or discourage a woman from applying to a job if that job description is super strict in what the day-to-day requirements are.
Right.
So those are big things with recruitment. Also, just making sure that a company really showcases DEI in, their website and what they're doing. And why would I apply to a job if I see that on the website or in all their marketing and messaging, it's only men, it's a boys club? And sure, I might shoot my shot anyway, and they could be lovely men and be a great place to work. It's not me saying that they aren't, but it's intimidating as a woman in a career space in which we're underrepresented as a whole. It's intimidating. So I think it's really important to just promote that diversity internally and really do it meaningfully, not just for tokenism, showcase success stories online. If there's a social media page for the company, highlight a woman on there who works for you and who has been successful, share her story, have her be that advocate for the company and her experience. And and maybe talking about her hardships as well and how she overcame them and showcase those who are supporting her at that company in the workspace.
Show the human, show the person behind that.
Yeah. There's a human element to everything. You can probably speak for the fact that I don't know your exact stats, but it's probably tough companies might come to you and say, we want to hire more women. And you might say, well, I just don't have many to even offer you because I don't have that many in our network. So if we don't address that problem now, then where are we going to be in 5-10 years, right? So what is the root issue? Okay, there aren't many women for me to recruit from. Let's look at the post-secondary students. Are there that many women in those tech courses? And if they're not, why not? Okay, well, let's go down the level to high school. Are there that many students taking tech classes in high school or computer science? No. Okay, let's go further. What about grade school? What are we doing to empower that younger generation? So it has to start early, or else we're going to be in the same space in 5 to 10 years. You're still going to be struggling in recruiting to get more women into this space. So the awareness piece and the attraction piece is huge. And if we start when people are in their 20s trying to inspire them to go into tech, sure, it's an option, especially post-pandemic. People, a lot of people have moved into this online virtual space working from home.
Yeah.
But if we don't start early, then we're probably not going to move too far forward down the line.
This really resonates with me, the work that you're doing, getting them while they're young, putting a bug in their ear and getting them excited about STEM and skilled trades. I definitely see what we can do from a recruitment perspective in terms of presenting opportunities to diverse individuals. Clients always want 99 things on their list of must-haves, but realistically speaking, they're talking about a unicorn that doesn't exist.
I know.
And so we need to temper their expectations.
It's no shot to companies that, they don't necessarily have, in the world of tech, let's say, a totally diverse team yet. It's, sometimes I do look at a company website and I see their leadership team. It's all men, and most of their tech is men. They're tech advisors that work there. And it's no shot to them because, let's face it, that's just what the talent pool looks like right now. What we do know, though, is, I have some stats here in the field of tech in Canada. 35.8% of women make up the tech industry. However, only 14% are actually in technical roles, right? So when we talk about tech industry as a whole, it's sure 35.8 doesn't sound too bad, but how many of them are working in HR? How many of them are really actually technical in their role? So you might argue that only really 14% of women are in technical roles. And it's no shot to the companies. Like I said, it's the talent market. It's just that's what's out there right now. So if everybody wants to promote DEI or DEIB, as we said, we need to, I hate to use a saying, but put our money where our mouths are, because it's an investment. And, you can say you want to diversify your team and you want to recruit more women, but if they don't exist yet, there's only so much you can do. And everybody wants to hire the woman in tech because they want to diversify their team. So they're going to try and get her in. So it's slim pickings, right? So again, this goes back to really trying to increase that talent pool and diversify that long-term talent pipeline. And I understand companies have budgets and targets, and at the end of the day, they're going to hire those that are most qualified for a role in their eyes and try to drive business. I get that. But if we are really talking about DEI and trying to diversify this talent pipeline, it's going to take some investment, both time and money. Yeah, and maybe that looks like more training, that you have to invest a little bit more time from your team and a little bit more money to train up. You hire that woman who could be an excellent employee, but just needs that little bit of extra technical training. Well, maybe you take her on and you would just invest in the time and the money it takes to get her up to that level that you would want. And who knows, she might be the even better employee down the line, right?
More and more organizations are looking for metrics around DEI, DEIB as part of their decision-making process for working with you.
And circling back to the services we offer as a nonprofit, our events where they're geared towards the younger audience, students in grades 7 to 12 or 9 to 12, we understand it's a big ask when we invite the corporate world to come and attend. Some of our events are free for exhibitors to attend. Some of them do, we charge an exhibitor fee. And we totally understand and empathize that it is a big ask from a company because, company A might say, well, I need talent now. Like I can't hire these students. Why would I come to your career fair? Like they're not ready to hire. So we understand it's a long-term investment, but it all goes back to the idea that we're in a pickle right now. We want to diversify the workforce. The talent just doesn't exist yet. That the talent is there, but it's not that diverse right now. So if we want it to be 5-10 years down the line, well, we have to invest in it now. So we get that it's a big ask, but that's why it's so important, because otherwise we all want the change, but unless we're going to action it, it's not going to.
I can't think of a better way to end this conversation. I really want to thank you for joining us. Before we wrap this up, how do we learn more about We Build a Dream?
Yeah, so great question. I would love to connect with anybody who's interested in this call. I would love to speak with you personally. If you want to set up a meeting with me, I would love to do that. My personal email is Natalie, just my first name, at webuildadream.com. So that is our website as well, webuildadream.com. And then we have a specific event website for Dreamer Day. It's dreamerday.ca. So .com for our general website, .ca for Dreamer Day. So there's lots of information there, but I think the best way to give you information is just to chat. So I would love to connect with anybody who's interested in this conversation, and whether it's business or not, if we just want to have a general conversation, that's cool too. Just say hello, and I'm happy to make connections. I'm on LinkedIn too, if that's easier. So
awesome, yeah, definitely. I'll include your LinkedIn profile in the comments as well. Thank you so much, Natalie. It's been yet another pleasure to speak with you. I hope this is the first of many conversations to come, and wish you the best of success with We Build a Dream and Dreamer Day. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to go to my first Dreamer Day.
Yeah, we can't wait to have you. And thank you so much. Like I'm just so grateful that we crossed paths so candidly, and that you've been such a support right from day one. Just I could tell your sincerity was there in that conversation. The candor was genuine, and you're passionate about what we do, and it shows, especially in giving us the spotlight to talk about what we do. It's just been a pleasure getting to know you, and we appreciate the connection.
Absolutely, likewise on my end, and I can't wait to see all that you'll accomplish. Thanks very much, Natalie.
Thanks, guys.
That was awesome.